thing.
Now, we're welcoming everybody to the Rainbow Lighthouse chat room. So we're going to open the door now and let everybody in, Lynda.
And there they are, all coming in.
And there's everybody coming in now. Lovely.
Somebody has beautiful wallpaper there. Look at those roses on that wall.
That's definitely Donna Crilly. I know.
Is that Donna?
I know Donna's bedroom. Yeah, she's waving there. Yeah,
We're marrying your wallpaper, Donna.
we're marrying everybody's house there, Olaretto. So I'm just going to get everybody in now, and then we can go on the pin here. So let me see this one. There we go.
That is on now.
That's us on now, and our wee chat box.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Yes, good morning, everybody.
We've got the good china out today.
We've got the china out today now, everybody. Yes, some English, Irish, Swiss tea today. So we are.
Yeah. So how's everybody? I hope you're doing well. And here we are back for another Sunday morning chat room, whatever you want to call
The
it.
chat room. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with Roisin and myself. I'm Lynda.
Yes.
And we have a very special guest this week too. We always have a guest, or try and have a guest on. And in about half an hour or so, we're going to be joined by Karen Murray, who some of you will know. Karen is based in Switzerland, in her centre in Switzerland, where she does really good work with the energies of that area, and also she works one-to-one with people. She also works in groups and so on, just in the personal development area, and consciousness and so on. We'll let her explain more whenever she comes in. But as always, I'm interested in hearing your comments, so do pop them into the chat box.
Yes.
Just there.
And hopefully I see them. So remember now, we're open to ask questions. And let's see where we go today.
Yeah.
Because we're in the energies now, Lynda, of the Cancerian energies. So
Yes, tell us more.
Yes, it's all about the moon, the nurturing, the mothering, the sensitivity. And, remember, it is the moon that drags the tides, the water, and we are nearly 93% water. So imagine what big shifts is going to happen this
So
month.
it's like a magnetic pull with us, yeah.
It is, isn't it? And so, it is pulling up what's lying underneath more and more and more. And these energies, as we know, people that are more maybe aware, Lynda, that since the start of the year, since we opened the door in Aries in the first house, it's extreme, the energies now. I have never, ever felt so much in a year that, it is incredible. Good, but also traumatic.
Yeah, yeah.
So I know what people are under. I really understand what we need. We really need to be together. We really need to count on each other, and we really need to forgive and be with each other, because we are under tremendous mental, emotional, physical pressure now. The light is incredible.
Do you think, Roisin, is this linked to the coronavirus and the whole thing that we've had over the past year and a half? Is it connected with all of that?
Yeah. Well, to me, the coronavirus, is to change humanity. Whether people say it's good or bad, it definitely is a change. Spirit says to me, there's a reroute happening.
Right.
We've been rooted in the wrong parts of ourselves, and we have been rooted in survival. That's what we've been rooted in. Not self-love, survival love of what we need, what we can buy, what we need to have, instead of who I am.
And that's so apparent in I suppose most of us have it. I certainly have social media, and we hear about so many of our young people these days, and older people as well. We're trying to live up to an image that's not real. The image that we see on social media, where we have to have more of this, or we have to look a certain way, or we have to fit into something, and it's all about that negative view of ourselves, really, isn't it?
It is
social media and the image that we want to portray, and instead of actually looking to see actually what we do have.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's interesting. So what should we, in terms of the energies and stuff, what kind of things will we be feeling right now? Can you put that?
Well, the two main things that are really coming in, it's the mind and actually the physical heart. So we're very much in the physical now at this moment. And I feel the next 2 months is going to be really strong on everybody's physical body, their tissues, their muscles, right through for 18 months. But these two are going to be very strong. So there's going to be a lot of heart attacks, a lot of heart operations, a lot of heart illnesses coming up, and a lot of like maybe aneurysms in the world, a lot of head problems, head injuries, and an awful lot of young people being affected by it. So this is not for if people think you're old, you die. That's all finished now. You just die. It's not about age anymore, and that's what light does. And it's interesting, in the last week I have been talking to quite a lot of people where their friends have went into comas, had heart attacks, and they're only 30 and 35. And there were 7 people last week of these young people. And this girl rang me up and she says, what is happening? I says, they're not rooted in any faith. I says, we're being rerouted. If you don't have a root in some type of faith or light, when these amazing lights come in, your body doesn't know it. So your body goes into shock. This is what it's like. It's like a tsunami. So you either swim with the tsunami or it'll push you out of the way if you don't understand it. And it's not to scare people, but it's really, I'm saying to people, we really need to wake up. And the children, they have no faith at all. None at all. So I was talking to somebody the other day and they says to me, there is no God, or there's no God, or that, and I says, it's not about there is no God. I says, you just don't understand what God is. That's it. So we have to bring a new understanding, and because the children are really, really hurting through society and their own parents, they can't see where God is.
Yeah.
Because there's no room left for God.
Yeah. There's so much else happening, isn't there?
There's so much else. There's so much help, and it's. We have to think about the children, and we will see it where everybody, no matter even if you're a light worker, you will start to feel all these kind of muscle spasms coming up as well. And I would say to people, they need to really start clearing their blood, connecting with their blood type, eating with their blood type, diet, flushing themselves, meditation, because it's not about we'll do it later. Even I have to look at that because I'm a bit lazy with the body, Come on, I have so many other things to do, but everybody else is saying that too. But I really have to be forced now. That's it. It really is. I have to mature if I'm asking everybody else to mature.
You talked in the meditation on Tuesday night about that, didn't you? And about nutrition and about how, that's something that we're going to have to keep an eye on in our bodies and look after the physical element of us. Yeah.
Most definitely, Lynda. It said, Spirit showed me a physical heart, and I've never seen this symbol before. A Spirit pulled it out, and it showed me a real dark, deep red heart with all the veins, but it was the heart of the earth, and it was the ley lines of the earth, and how they were all damaged and hurt. And that's our heart. Because that's it. That's what we really need to understand. That's why the earth, the physicality of the earth is changing, and our physicality is really going to be cleaned.
It's interesting what you were saying. There were so many young people, particularly, who maybe have not been brought up in a faith and maybe have no time for God or don't believe in God. And I find that I don't know what I would do without God in my life.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
And that must be for you as well, because you spend your day talking to God all the time.
I spend my day. If I hadn't got God, I'd definitely be, I don't know where I would be.
Yeah.
Now, what took me to God was my own suffering, I feel, as a child, when I start to hear it. Do we need suffering to allow God in? No, we don't.
No.
We just need to seek and find God in that new way. I think, as I say, there's 4,500 religions, so there's a real confusion around God. So I said to people, let's find it your way. But use the energies. Use the energies to get you there. The saints, the Buddhas, whatever it is, It's not about you honouring them. It's about they're there for you to use them to get you
So
to
whichever
the
one
source.
you identify with,
Yeah.
that. So see again, when you look at the established church, there's something that, it's our way or all the other ways are wrong.
Yes, that's
You know.
right. But then if we believe in God and God is the creator, then he's created it all. So all roads will lead to him. If you say, if you come into my garden, you'll see a Buddha in the garden. You'll see a goddess in the garden. But I have the two grottos, one to Our Lady and Our Lord.
Yeah.
I am really rooted, my energy is rooted in Christ. But they're all the branches of the tree that bring people back. Bob Dylan can take you to God. You know what I mean? Or Clapton can take you to God. It all depends, how you get children in, get people in their way. We have to reach out to them. Isn't that what the disciples had to go out and bring them in?
Yeah.
So isn't that so? Everybody will use a different way.
Yeah.
So if you're a teacher teaching music, you can bring. This is, the energy of God.
Absolutely. I mean, somebody once said to me, you can hear God, or you can know God speaking to you through anything.
Anything.
A dead dog. It could be a dead dog. It
Exactly.
could be anything, and you can feel God reaching out to you in whatever it is if you just open yourself. to it.
It's to realize that no matter what you're doing, I think people think they have to be doing something spiritual or religious to say God is doing this. No.
Yeah.
I remember my postman, when he used to come to give me the letters in the morning, I said, a message from God. And he used to look at me, crazy. And guess what? A few months later, he knocked on my gate. He says, "Can I come in and talk to you? Do you see?" So that was meant to happen. Wow. And then I start to show him that, you're bringing messages maybe of bad news to people or good news. So remember and he says, "I've never seen it like that." So to see your job where you can bring that essence in, it doesn't have to be spiritual.
Yeah.
It's to see that in life. And it's simple.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Well, it is when you kind of, if you know what you're going to, if you're at that stage where you need more, then yes. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
you know there's more to life, and you need more. Listen, if you want to pick up on anything that Roisin said there, or anything that maybe has struck a chord with you, just go into the chat box there. I'm trying to prevent my straps from falling down. I think maybe this top's a wee bit too big for me. But go into the chat box and write it down there, and any questions as well. You were talking about Jesus and the disciples there, and you got me hooked on the Chosen.
The Chosen.
Yeah. Is anybody else watching The Chosen, by the way? It's a download. You go on, there's an app. Oh, it's on Netflix as well, I think.
Yeah, it's on Netflix as well. Yeah.
And you can watch it. And I'm really into it now, but it's very good. But you got me into that, and I was watching that the past few nights. But yeah, that's what it is. He goes to the disciples, and they're, before they're disciples, they're fishermen. And then he says, I will make you fishers of men.
Yeah.
And women, obviously.
Yeah.
People.
And that's how, when my journey of clearing started, Spirit said to me, you have to do your clearing events where there's water. So for the first 3 years, I couldn't do anywhere unless there was water or rivers. And I remember I walked down to the local mound the first time when I was doing the clearing, and went with the fishermen down at the river, and I walked down and I talked to every single one of them, and I thought, this is very poignant, And everywhere then we done clearings, there had to be water in some way, because that was very important for me. And then in Rainbow Lighthouse we have 8 springs that go under down here under the ground. So
natural springs, like they'd be wells.
They'd be wells, and we've got them all underneath. So it's really, water is very important, because remember, we're nearly 90% water. So when you're beside water, you really are close to the essence of who you are. Which is, the voice of God. And, this is what I said, people, open your ears and you will hear the water speak. Don't be thinking you're mad. Everything has a voice.
Yeah.
Everything has a voice. Everything. Every single thing. So don't think, somebody says you're talking to the flowers, you're mad. You talk to your dog, you're not mad. So, it's realizing, and the water is so important. The water energy of the sacred net. It's the grace of it is important. Yeah.
Very good. Now there's a wee red thing there in the chat. I think there's
right. Okay. Let's see
there. But
where are we here?
Oh, there we are. Oh, The Chosen. So it's Marcella says The Chosen's a beautiful series. definitely worth making the time to watch. I would agree with that. It's terrific, and there's like 3 or 4, I think maybe 3 series of it. It's crowdfunded. It's a lovely series, Marcella. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now there's who's that? Fiona and Betty are asking, what does eat for your blood type mean? Now there's something I meant to pick you up at that at the time. What does that mean? Eat for your blood type.
Well, we all have our blood types, and they're, you can go onto the internet, it's very easy, and you can find, which blood, well, first of all, get your blood type, and then you can find out what you should be eating to connect with your blood type. Now, this isn't a big change of diet. This is like, say, for example, if you eat 3 different types of nuts, it'll tell you which one is better for the blood type. So it tells you to eat really to the blood type, and that actually purifies the blood type. And that's only come in the last month with me, that I had to go into this, because Spirit said the physical body and the rivers are being cleansed inside you. You need to start eating with the blood type to purify the blood, because it's being reprogrammed.
See, I have a friend who has just started doing that.
All right.
And then I know other people who say, oh, that's bunkum, it's not, there's nothing proven there to say that works. But do you believe there is that?
Well, it's because I was told.
Yeah.
So it's not, I never thought, this was nothing to do with me before. And then next thing I heard the voice saying I thought, all right, here's the next thing. So they see, that's how it really works. I just listen. So when they tell me to go and investigate that or do that, so I went and I got checked for the blood type, and I got the diet to see what I should be eating or whatever. And it's not really any different to what I am eating, because usually we do eat our blood type, because you see, we know, our being actually knows, but you maybe need to tweak a little bit, of maybe the wrong nuts you're eating or the wrong fruit, just to tweak it by a different fruit.
Right.
And then that's a purification of the blood type, and it's almost, I feel that there's a reprogramming I'm hearing. So at the moment, that's what I'm doing at the moment.
So you find out your blood type, and then from that you can
you can start. You can get the diet. What is the Peter J. Adomo, I think is it. But if you go on the internet and say eat with your blood type, there's many people that would be doing books and things like that if you wanted to do it. So it's not such a diet, it's just, being aware of whatever you're eating, the nut or the bread, is it the right one? It's not really eliminating so many stuff, it's just giving you maybe 50 options of what are you eating, and
being more focused.
These are neutral or positive, or the ones that are negative on the blood type that will make your body have to work harder. So it's really about, I think it's more like how would Spirit said, the River Jordan coming through you, clean the river. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So again, some people have been sending in questions and points and so on through the past week or two. I'm not sure who this is from, but someone here has asked, Roisin, if we're all born with a soul purpose and a life purpose, and we talked about this the last time we were here, how do you figure them out? How do you make sure you stay on track to achieve your soul purpose or your life purpose?
Well, how can we put that? It all depends what you've come in to learn, you know what I mean, in that way. So soul and life purpose to me is the same thing. To me it's the same thing. It's when we're going against it, then it's that's where the difficulty comes in, do you know what I mean? So it's a wee bit like, our life is the yellow brick road. That's what, we're walking down it, and we meet different people, different stages of our life to get home. Dorothy goes down the road to really go home, to find herself. And home was finding herself, you know what I mean? So I don't think it's about searching for a life purpose. It's more uncovering it in yourself, like, the inner work.
It's in there already, you just need to find it.
It's in there already, and if someone's asking that question, they're already on the yellow brick road.
Ah, okay.
Do you know what I mean? And it's about inner work. And as you go into the inner work, then you ask those questions, because we're usually asking questions from our wants and our needs, not from our soul.
Okay.
So I might say to you, I want to go and live, in Japan, because I love Japan a lot. And, if I go into my soul say, you're living in County Down in Ireland. Do you know what I mean? So you have to go in and start to listen to what's your soul and what's your ego. In that way. And inner work, meditation, reflecting, groups like this, talking, learning to listen in beyond the fear. beyond the ego self, what I want, because we are really projecting everything on each other. As I say, close your eyes, you find yourself. Like someone said to me the other day about who rules this country. I said, I couldn't tell you. I said, that's not in my wavelength. I says, I couldn't even tell you who's running Northern Ireland. I said, that is not where I am. I stay in my energy, in my inner, in my own kingdom that I create. I'm not interested in being in anybody else's kingdom. That's where the complications are for me if you go out into something else or be drawn out. So I would say, draw yourself more in and lift the inner veils inside, and more of you will be revealed, because you could be a cook in a school, right? That's your soul and life purpose. How do you bring the divine purpose through it to people? So it isn't that they have to become, a guru or a spiritual teacher. What they're doing is where they're meant to be. It's how you bring the divine into that. So, if you understand that,
I do. It's like the body is like all parts of the body are good at the hand is for this, or
exactly
the nose is for smelling, or whatever. But when they all come together, isn't it like the body of the church, if you like, God's people?
Right, that's right.
So we all have something unique to bring.
Everybody.
To the situation.
And when something isn't happening for you, I think I told this story before. I had a heart surgeon that came to me many years ago, and it was quite sad. He wanted to be a musician, right? And his heart was broke. And I says to him, listen to me, Richard. God doesn't want you to be a musician. I says, God needs you to be a heart surgeon. I says, you're more important to him. I says, play the music in the theatre. I says, and make your music and play it to the people, and stop wanting to be famous for your music. I says, be famous for healing hearts. And he looked at me and he said, wow, I've never ever looked at it that way. And I think that I was afraid he was going to react, terrible. Yeah. I says, that's your life purpose, and let the divine come through and bring your music in. I says, God's not stopping you. I says, you're not hearing what you're meant to be doing, and bring it in. And he said, I didn't know I was chosen. And even then that helped him.
Yeah.
So I thought, I'm glad I said that, but at the start I didn't know. So, whatever you're doing, say that is what you're chosen to do now, right? How can you bring the divine into it, or glorify God in some way? And we're afraid to say that word, glorify God, because we think of the church, glorify God, that's terrible, we're going, too religious. No, you can glorify God by just saying, thanks to God, I created this today. Thanks to God. If somebody says, thanks for doing that, well, God gives me the grace to do that for you. Simple, just get the name in there. That's what we need, isn't it? So, I hope that answered the question.
Well, I think that's made it kind of clear. And what is encouraging, that it's, as you say, it's all in there already. It's just about finding it and bringing that out.
Yeah.
So maybe searching yourself and finding out who you are, and who you're, what is your soul telling you? Yeah. That you really want to push forward. Yeah.
Forget about trying to get maybe to a job or to a spiritual destination, and where you are doing what you do, make it. Yeah. Yeah. And then, as you say, I'm going to do it in this. You won't be, then a road could open up for to where maybe you want to go. It's
as much about the journey as the destination.
Right? Yes, definitely. Okay.
Now, did you want to do some pause for music today?
Yes, we'll pause for music before lovely Karine comes on to talk about her lovely work. So what we're going to do today now, we're going to pause to show you how to push the ego out of the way. Usually when I would do meditation, the music would have no words, because you don't need words. We want to get rid of them. So we're going to listen to the Our Father in Aramaic today. So to really just listen to the music and the vibration of what you hear, and open your heart and just let that be a conversation, because remember, God speaks in every language.
Aramaic is the language that Jesus would have spoken.
Yeah. And I just want to read this wee part. Spirit had asked me to read this out. Faith. We fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary, What is unseen is eternal. That's faith. So we're going to go into this now, and it is for about 4 minutes, but I'll make it a bit shorter, so with our time for about 2 minutes. Okay, then. Okay. So everybody, so I have to pause here because
it's music.
Yeah, we don't have the rights. God says we do, but the internet says we don't. Anyway, see you in a moment. Beautiful, isn't it?
It's lovely. Aramaic. Well, I've never heard that before.
Lovely.
Really, really nice, yeah. Excellent.
Really nice.
Okay.
So,
have to get back.
See, now we've come back. It only takes a moment.
Yeah.
That's all, isn't it? Only a moment to fill the glass.
So, we're going to bring in Karen very shortly, aren't we? Karen Murray, who's, as I say, based in Switzerland. And maybe just before we bring her in, Roisin, do you want to tell the story about how you met her? First of all,
I met Karen in I think 2008. And the year I got married actually, and I met her in Wicklow, down in Wicklow, and when I walked into the hotel, actually it was the first Orsoma event I had been asked to go to, and I walked into the hotel and the foyer. I was sitting and I seen Karen sitting on the chair, the lady, and she was a stag, like the crown of Christ, as I call it. She was a stag, and she had a spear in her heart. That's how you saw it. That's how I seen it. And it was beautiful. To me, it was like, it was stunning. And I don't know exactly what I said to her, or I touched her chest, and she was talking to the stag, but she knew once I said it. She got it straight away. Whether she didn't understand it mentally, but spiritually she knew. And I said to her, there was a wound in your heart. I'll release that. And then we were just talking and whatever. It was my first time for meeting her, and then we were going into the event, and I said, you should come to Ireland, you should come to my house, because whoever I meet, I said, come on, they must think, but that's just the way it is. And then I never seen her again, and until 2014, I think it was, in Dingle, at the next Orsoma event. I hadn't been at one until this next one, so I met her at the two of them. And then we were sitting together at the table, and Bill was there as well, and the three of us enjoyed a glass of champagne. She'll remember that. And then we were talking, and then we were talking about the work, and Karen was talking about her centre. And then she invited me over to hold one of my clearing events in where she was living at that time, near Liston, in Basel.
So you've been to Switzerland?
Oh, many times. It's like a second home. Switzerland's really Ireland to me, So I've been to Karen's first centre in Listel, and now where she's living in Dalmach. That's me pronouncing it wrong, but don't worry, she'll put me right there. And Karen now lives in the Steiner energies, but she'll tell you all about that. And then her work, Karen would use the system through her work. Like Karen does many things, but when she was doing the Orsoma, I think she was working with the Constellation works as well as the angels that she works with. And then that's we start to do my clearing events, and Karen hosted them in her centre, and then it went from there till we've done retreats and different things. So and Karen's been here many times, and her family as well, and her boys. So it became friend work, which always does happen anyway, and it's beautiful that if you can make that happen, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Because sometimes people say, no, keep work as work. I'm not that type of person. Can't.
Well, your work is your life.
Yeah, so how can you keep the work as work? It's both, isn't it?
Well, shall we bring Karen
Yes,
in?
I'm going to get...
I'm just keeping an eye on the clock here. Sorry, my phone's not...
Now, let me see how...
we bring Karen in, and we will ask her how to pronounce Dorna in Switzerland.
Oh, there she is. There's Karen there.
Good
afternoon, so Karen, if I can get you to unmute yourself, Karen.
I did.
Oh, good. Yes. Okay.
There we go. Good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon. So lovely to be here, and thank you for having me.
Well, it's great that you're able to give us the time. So tell us a little bit about where you are, first of all. It's in Dorna?
Yeah, perfectly pronounced, Lynda.
You're a good teacher. And I suppose the most notable thing or famous thing about the area that you live in is the area that Rudolf Steiner was working in. Tell us a little bit more about it.
He got this piece of land from the community here. He wanted to stay either in Switzerland or in Ireland.
Ooh.
That was
Wow.
2 days.
Yeah. And then he decided for Switzerland and built his Goetheanum here. And that was like the foundation of the anthroposophy here. And he was the one to start to bring science and spirituality together.
Wow. And we have a Steiner school here actually in Hollywood and County Down, I think it is.
Yeah, it's now all over the world and it's very international. Here we have visitors really from everywhere.
Yeah.
Coming to have the studies in the Goetheanum and the studies around anthroposophy and all the life areas, medicine, farming, schooling, education, really everything.
Okay, so so he believed. I mean that there was a sort of a holistic way that our children should be educated. Isn't that right? It's all about the linking in with the spiritual, the physical. Rather than teaching children the ABCs and the academic subjects, it's all about what we were just talking about, learning yourself first of all.
Yeah, it was, you were talking about the purpose, or in this answer of the purpose, that's really where it refers to. Every child comes in with gifts and talents, and the more you support what is already there, the more the purpose is found or is discovered or remembered, and then the children can really do what the reason why they came in, and the normal school, the school is probably in Ireland the same. Everybody goes through the same system and has the same have to the same knowledge and is not in any way supported in the personal talents.
That's right.
Or not in the way it should be. But there are other movements like Montessori, and there were other people really who had the same approach.
So, can you tell us a little bit about your journey, about how you kind of made that, the journey to where you are now, and the kind of work that you do?
Yeah, so the anthroposophy was always part of my life, but I never stepped into this system. I used all, the jewelries in it in the education with my children, and they had the luck to have like teachers who their children were in the Waldorf or Steiner schools, so they applied a lot. So that was the lucky part, and of course the medicine. So my whole life I never really used the school medicine. I tried to stick with the homeopathy and the anthroposophic medicine. So this is the part that really is interesting, that I'm now here since 3 years. I live in Dornach and I'm totally connected now with the energies on another level. And it has a big influence into my work too, as a support.
Yeah.
And I have here my center and work with different modalities. But the purpose is to the awakening and the ascension of our being. Yeah.
Tell me about your own spiritual journey. Did something, was there a trauma or something in your life that brought you to that spiritual doorway, if you like?
Yeah, I would say the biggest impact was, of course, my family of origin. And the trauma there was with 11, my childhood was over. And this had a huge impact. The whole family broke apart. And this all, I mean, in hindsight, I would say it all was very well orchestrated. It led me to what I do today. So I picked well. Yeah.
That's right.
So that was the trauma, and as trauma is, one comes after the other. It never stops, you know. And till we break the cycle. And I started to break the cycle. I started to search for support and help in my, for my personal healing. And a big moment was to come across the family constellation modality, the systemic work. And I started to realize I am part of a system. It's not to find this healing has not very much to do with myself. It has more to do with the story I am born into, or was born into. And we are born into a story. And the story was told over many, many generations. And I started to discover and remember the story and what it does with me. And I started to heal the roots of who I am. We were talking about, or you were talking about the blood cells. And we are in systems from the blood cell to the largest galaxy in space. And in every relationship we go into, we create a new system together. Whatever kind of relationship this is, it can be work, it can be friendship, it can be romantic relationships, the children's, when we become parents, we create the family, so it's a new system. And to see, to have the eye for the bigger picture, that's really important. To see what stories we are involved in.
Mm-hmm. So you talked there about, what was that, family constellation?
Yeah, yeah. So I started with the birth of my second son. I really came across this method, and I started to weed the garden of my family, I can say. Really very focused over many years. And I realized the roots are the most important to have a healthy and prosperous life for yourself. You need to go back. You have to have the connection with the past and what happened and what all the generations before you were going through in order to understand yourself, you know.
And is that possible? I mean, what you're talking about there is sort of almost generational trauma, isn't it?
Oh, it is, and it is passed down through the generation.
Yeah. There's
Inherited.
scientific studies to
And we come back to the blood. It is in our cells. It's a memory we carry. That's so important to see. We think we have this free will and we can do whatever we want and create and manifest and so on. As long as we are not aware, because most of it is unconscious, we repeat the cycles and we repeat the story, and we know mentally, definitely we know, oh, that's I remember that's not right, or that's not what I want. Nobody wants to create pain and suffering, and anyway we do. And the stories are passed down, like alcoholism, or when there was a suicide or a child died. It all is connected with shame and guilt. So that's the two main emotions that entangle us with everything that happened.
So when Karen would have her sessions with the system, the Soma system, tell us a bit about what would happen with their sessions, Karen, and how you use this.
Yeah. So when I work one-to-one, I need I use as a tool, I use the Soma models. This came about after many, many years of working with Soma for myself. I put the oil on myself and I worked with the color and light for my healing. Here you can see another system. It's a system And I went through the whole training, became a teacher there, and everything else. But the most important thing was it helped me to uncover my gifts and talents, and one of them was to create a synergy of the methods I work with. And Orasoma has the influence that I let people pick their colors. For example, when they come and whatever issues we have, it leads back to the family of origin and our childhood, because it's all about to unload our baggage of childhood. And here we see another developing system.
So it's when Karen's talking about what she's doing with the sessions and the bottles representing different people in your life, your parents, whether they're living or dead, your children, and you bring that whole range in, and then Karen brings you on a journey to uncover and to cleanse the roots there. So it's very depth.
Even though we don't know, it's all in the subconscious potentially, is it?
Not everything, but most of the things that create our suffering is, of course, unconscious, and it leads back to the roots we are dealing with. And we, as a child, you get born into a family and you have to pick it all. You can't choose, so you are entangled in all the happenings, the fates of the ancestors. And when you go back only like 3-4 generations, you have over 60 people right behind you. They have had, or they had, or still have their experience, and it's all influencing you too, because you're part of it. It's like a tree, and you're a leaf on this tree. And depending how healthy the roots are, how strong the stem is, and how prosperous the whole tree, you are affected by it.
So Karen, so if you're dealing with someone's generational suffering or ancestral healing, I suppose, what about your own children? Does the cycle break them with you, or can that continue to be passed down the generations from you?
So once they get born into the family, I can't decide what I want to pass down or not. So they have to take it all. The beauty in it is everything we work with, either it's my work here with the constellation or the ancestral healing or the clearing, whatever we do, the work with the color and light of Orasoma, everything is a help for the past generations and what happened for me in my present moment and for the future generations. So my children have definitely profited of everything I did and still do. Wow. They are not as loaded, maybe I could say, as they would be without my work. And that's something I think as a collective purpose we all have, would need to be in this responsibility to work like this, to create the change and to help to the evolution of humankind.
You see, when Karen's talking there, it's for everybody listening that's a mother, a father, or someone that has, anybody that they could help or change. We have the ability in ourselves there to be more aware, instead of being angry at the child or angry at the brother or sister. Someone said to me the other day, I'm not talking to my brother. I said, yeah, but you don't need to talk to him. I said, talk to him inner I says, it's a clear inner, say the prayer, say that you want forgiveness or ask him for forgiveness. I said, you do the inner work and clear the lines. I said, and eventually when he arrives, there'll be nothing needs to be said. You can do it that way. People have to realize the power is that. And that's what Karen is talking about with her children. She was so aware and clear so much in that way that whole support for the boys coming in there, then shows her how well they're doing because of what she did.
Yeah.
So
when you have healing in yourself, then it affects your...
For example, in my personal situation, since 5 generations, the fathers were not around. Some of them were physically around, but emotionally, mentally not available. And it goes even to my brother who died and had 2 little children. So this is 5 generations, or all the time the same happening. So the children are like half orphans, sometimes total orphans. And that's like the family story. Every family has a story, and it's quite interesting to see how connected it is with the fairy tales. So in our family, the fairy tale Hansel and Gretel, that's our story over so many generations.
Wow.
And what I do is I really bring back the order into the family. When you have this tree, sometimes you have to cut things off, or you have to bring back some fertilizer, or it's like a bringing back an order into the system is the healing. You can't exclude anybody who belongs, and everybody that is born into it belongs to the family. Yeah. And often the fates and the pain and suffering is created by excluding people.
Wow. Karen, your work as well, you're a qualified yoga practitioner, yeah?
Yeah. I'm in yoga. That's more my private, personal, spiritual journey over 20 years. And that's my personal practice. And as Roisin always says, we have to clear all the time. We have to do our personal work to be able to be a clear channel and clear for our work with people.
And I know that, Roisin, you've been to the area where Karen works, and yes. You've done retreats together, yeah?
Oh yes, we've done many events together since we met, since we started the clearing, and we done the first retreat to Switzerland. Was at the Gottiam.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. That was where you said to me, in 4 years we live there.
Yeah, we were because the grounds of the Gottiam is I call it, it's the pale turquoise energy of the Christ consciousness. Really it is. And we were standing there at the gardens, and I said, you're going to be living here, that's right. And Karen said, yeah. I said, yeah, in 4 years. And she is now living there in her new centre. And when I go out in her patio, I look at the Gottiam, and sometimes we walk down, and visit it. Mm-hmm. But we have done, retreats through Switzerland, and also, in Medjugorje as well.
You go to Medjugorje too.
Yeah, as well. And then we have a Bridget retreat that we call it the Swiss family come over to Ireland, because Bridget and Listel were Karen.
There's a connection.
There's a big connection there with St. Bridget, and it was a beautiful story, wasn't it, Karen? We were on the Irish retreat, and we were in Kildare, the another home of Bridget, and we were with the Brigidine sisters. And we had the whole group, all the Swiss family, the Irish family sitting around, and Mary went out to get a new book that was about Bridget and Kildare and her travels. And as we were sitting there, she says, I just want to read this. And she opened it up and says, when Bridget went to Listel in Basel in Switzerland, and everybody went, I didn't even know that. Do you know what I mean? And we actually, I think some of us cried. It was so powerful. And then the name Listel means, light and stable light. And, it was Bridget that gave it its name.
Wow.
So it's amazing that we were sitting in Kildare in the Bridget Centre. Karen there from me there, and we had been working in her centre for all those years, and there was Bridget showing up and saying, "Look at that!"
Wow.
Like it's amazing.
It's quite a connection, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And Roisin comes over for sessions too, so clearings, and then next to the clearings, we started to do sessions together. And with like full day sessions with
people.
Okay.
Yeah, and then of course the situation then asked to create something new, which came through then, and that's the sessions online. The three of us, the client and the two of us. So it's beautiful. It's really, really growing, and
Yeah.
we can go very deep together. And I'm very grateful to have met her and the support I had to come closer and closer and reconnect and come back home to myself, you know.
And all of that came from a strange woman in a hotel in, where was it? Wicklow telling you were a stag.
Yeah, with the stag outside, Russian.
Yeah, and as we walked outside the hotel, there was a bronze stag in the centre of the garden. So, you know, it's when you come, as you say, you know, you don't have to understand, but if you can just be a little bit open and aware, when someone that maybe is a wee bit different than yourself says something to you, to say, not poo it, but say, why did they say that? Just say why, and open yourself up. You know, you could
go
get
deeper, really.
Oh wow, you can get so, you know, that day Karen was open. If she hadn't have been open, it may not, but she was always going to be open, wasn't she? So, you know, it happened that way, and then the work has evolved, you know, so much that we do sessions together now as well as the clearing events and the retreat, and we fly back and forth, you know, really, and the root of it is to bring people back to themselves and bring people back to the Christ consciousness.
Yeah, exactly. And this is really, I mean, I always, my whole life, I had this longing, you know, to go there, but in my surroundings and the people around me, they didn't understand. So this was for me the gift. And yeah.
And just before we let you go and we move on, is there anything you can say that would encourage people listening in today? You know, we all go through ups and downs in our lives, and you know, the path that you start on may not be the path that where you end up. And you know, are there any wounds, I suppose? Is there a wound in your life, you know, that has maybe helped you to propel you further? What is your greatest wound, would you say?
Exactly what we were talking about. Our greatest wound is the separation from God, the disconnection. And that's the core wound we all have. And that's really what I see as the basis of my work. And together with the meeting with Roisin, it could unfold and blossom so beautiful. For everybody who comes to me, it's the same, you know. Whatever method we use, whatever issue we have, in the end, we want to come back home.
That's yeah.
Oh, lovely to talk to you. Thank you so much for
Thank you, Lynda. Thank you, Roisin.
speaking to us today. And those of us who are regulars at Rainbow Lighthouse and the meditations, we see you quite often at the special meditations, don't we?
Yes, of course. I am the German voice.
the Swiss German voice.
And the Swiss German voice for what is coming through Roisin.
Yeah.
So that's the honor I have.
So some people are asking, how can I make an appointment with Karen? Well, you can contact Karen directly, or you can contact the Lighthouse, and we can give you Karen's information.
Yes, my website, and you can of course, my website is in German, but it's very easily by Google. You can type in the oral, you know, the whole address of the website, and then it's translated into English. It's quite a good translation. So,
but you're on Facebook as well, Karen Murray Facebook.
Yes.
So if you look up Karen Mary, you can message her on Facebook.
Yeah.
Also,
and there you can see even my website name, my email address, everything is available. Even my telephone number.
yes. So that was Carl said, how can I make an appointment? So that's how you can do that through Karen's Facebook, or you can contact Rainbow Lighthouse and we can give you her information.
And all online.
And Karen's doing at the moment all online, which is lovely, and she can bring you back into that family journey and help you maybe understand where the issues are and how to get through them.
Fascinating.
So
Karen, thank you so much. Thanks, lovely to speak to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Lovely sister, enjoy your boys.
Thank you.
Okay.
I will.
Thank you, Karen. So let me see now, Lynda, where I get back here,
Here we are, the technical element.
This is
Have we no Jarlath today doing the tech end
our
for us?
Emmett. But that's Jarlath was last week, wasn't it? Last month.
Last time, yes.
Yeah, that's it.
That's
Jarlath there. You see, and you're meant to bring that in because with Jarlath, is like all the people are there to help us.
Yeah.
Everybody's there to help us. In every corner, in every internet, you can get someone to talk to, can't you?
Yeah.
So I think we got us back on there. Sorry, Karen, I'm holding you there, but it doesn't matter. You can still. Oh, there we are now.
We're back again. All right.
So,
have you another thing to read, or are you going to do another meditation?
we'll do another little piece of
Will we do
meditation.
another one? Because I have more questions for you.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. I like the meditation parts the best, So now we're going to just listen to, another piece of music, Arabic music. Just this is a piece of music that's Spirit had downloaded for me. So let's have a wee breath now.
Stop the recording.
Oh, stop the recording, yes. Let's stop the recording. Good girl, Lynda. Lovely, everybody. It's beautiful, isn't it? When we're together. The power of the presence. You may not understand it, but there was such a presence there that I had to talk more, and I knew I thought, I better go with it. And that's, we were going together. That's the wave. The wave, we were one there. It was beautiful. And without you realizing it, the presence of the lamb, the sheep behind us was penetrating, through. It was so strong. Oh my God, I was going to say, everybody open your eyes. I thought, this is amazing. But I thought, no, let's not distract anybody. I like to tell everybody everything what's going on, and sometimes I have to say, no, later.
Wow.
So it was lovely, beautiful. We filled the cup again there.
Yeah. That was lovely. Yeah,
lovely.
Really lovely. Right. Well, so as I said to you, I have some more questions, and if you've got a question for Roisin or any points you want to make sure, throw it into the chat there. But we talked quite a lot, Roisin, about your life purpose, your purpose, finding your purpose in life. Mm-hmm. And that's what Karen was talking about as well. And she one of these questions here is, how do you make sure to stay on track to achieve your soul purpose, your life purpose? How can you keep that vision?
Well, to stay on track, what I do, I have to be available every day to listen. That's how I stay on track, And there's many times I go off track because it's a constant, every week we have to go into our own, how would I say, dark room, and maybe just for a moment. It could be just for an hour. Someone may have, a bad part of their day. You go in and you can lose track, and it takes you, and, we've had a very bad time the last 3 weeks because the outer planets, the planetary energies was coming in for the Capricorn moon, which was intense. So the energies were really affecting people. Their emotional state really, really bad. And you see, what happens is when we get off track, which is a constant, like it's an every week thing with me, and I'm very, very aware, but I'm still in it. I still have to go through it. It doesn't give you a wand to get out of it. This is life. That's what life's about. We have to walk it. This is a physical manifestation, and we have to walk it. And it's brutal. Like, it is brutal. But we have a choice to see how we live it in that brutality of it. You know, is it going to destroy us? Is it going to take us off the track and not believe? It actually makes me believe even more. And then people say to me, how can you believe in all them things happening? I said, what do you mean? I said, that's life. You know, that's not just a personal thing to me. Everybody is suffering in some way all the time. And it's not about you being good or bad that you suffer. That's a part of the journey of humanity. Like, sometimes people say to me, you know, why does them things not happen to them bad people, and why do them bad people do so well? I said, that's not how it is. God loves all the children. Children are given choices. And our choices lead us into lessons. That's it. People say free choice. I don't believe we have free choices. I think choices are lessons. Freedom is accepting it. That's free.
Say that again?
I don't believe we have free choice.
Yeah.
Choices just gives you lessons.
Yeah.
And then the freedom of the lessons that we pick is to accept them.
Accept the lesson, accept that is your...
Because everything in your life, even from birth, it is picked, you know, in some way. But our choices bring us to situations, and then we have to accept. And the minute we accept whatever has happened in that situation, that's the freedom of choice. That's the freedom. And, you know, that's how I see freedom. You know, choice doesn't give you freedom. Choice gives you lessons.
And do you ever get stuck on your journey, you know? And sometimes you can be happily going along in your on life, and then you just feel stuck. You feel kind of... You
can't hear nothing.
Does that ever happen to you?
Oh God, yeah. And I mean, when I get stuck, they're really, you know, they're brutal stickings. You know what I mean? Because I can push wee ones away because that's easy. But you know, I can get really unbelievable processes. You know, that you know, really give me great suffering. Like, there's no doubt about it. You know, sometimes I say to myself, you know, I think, what is going on? You know, like, you know, I feel everybody's pain. Like, I really, really do. I can't stop that now. And this year has been the most, I mean, powerful of some of my suffering ever, of what I'm feeling for what's going on. And I either have to jump out of the boat, but you can't jump out of the boat once that's the boat you're in. It's the ark, you know. And Noah was asked to do the ark. If you look at it symbolically, the ark was to protect you inside and outside. Our Lord said, protect the inside and the outside and bring everybody in it. That's your ark. So you have to learn to protect yourself with the light of Christ. And that's really is my power, because there's no one else could understand what I go through. There's no one. And that's the only draw I can get. I think in this madness, I know there's a light. I know there's an essence. Even when I'm hearing unbelievable things going through my body, trying to take me, you know, and I'm thinking, you know, even when I'm doing the meditation groups, what I have to process before we even get. And sometimes you'll hear me saying, oh, you don't have to tell me how you've been feeling, because the whole week I could have lost my whole week getting ready for the Tuesday that week, because so many people are carrying so much stuff, you know. And this is why, you know, I have to sit a lot now on my own, where before I wouldn't sit my own so much, but I really am being forced now because there's too much coming in. There's too much coming in.
That's just in the past year or two.
Yeah, this year's been the worst. You know, I usually would have been going out really connecting and really, I haven't even got, how would you say, the scope to do that, because there's so much coming in to get the light. I have to really be on my own, you know, almost like hermit-like, which is not my personality, to cope with what is all coming in with people.
So when you kind of get stuck or come to a barrier, you have to be still and just connect.
I have to be still
with God
and you know, I would visit, you know, like the shrines or whatever, and sit, and I can be sitting in the shrine just playing music. I can't even pray because I'm so just sitting there thinking, who is this? What's coming through me now? And he just said, you're the ark. I think, well, open this door quick, you know. And that's how I'm talking to him, you know, because I can feel it. And then you come through it, and then there's such a shift, and then the grace comes in, you know. But that's it. All depends in your life how deep you're in something, or the lesson you're in, or whatever. That's where I find my solace. And you know, I spend a lot of time talking and a lot of time processing and you know, just sitting with God, because there's no one else can answer it for me.
And would you say that for us as well? You know, I mean, because maybe, you know, for us, I mean, it is something that might not sit naturally with us, you know, go somewhere and be very quiet and just sit and wait for God, you know. When you talk about waiting on the Lord, you know, wait for God to speak, it doesn't come naturally to a lot of people, you know.
No, it doesn't come naturally because they may not understand, or they're trying to find, they don't know what God is to them.
Or they maybe can't still their mind.
They can't still their mind, you know. Well, you know, you have to find a way or something to work at as you work through it, what you know, whatever it is. And you see, the pain pushes us in different directions. You know, some people say it was so bad, I had to go and do something. And that's what God's saying. Go and find something. Go and do something with it. I sit with it to go through it so I can bring the message back. That's what I do for people. I'm bringing the message back of what I've went through. So that's what I do. But maybe somebody may have to do it physically, like gardening, or physically like creating something, or helping something, or volunteering, or whatever. Just sitting with it. It's not going to go anywhere. When I sit with it, it's going somewhere because I'm pulling it through my body and they're giving me messages to bring the wisdom up. But if you're just sitting and it's not going well, then it means you need action. Okay. You need to take yourself in a direction, or you're going to die on it because you're just sitting there. Mm-hmm. Like it's going to be a very dark, lonely place. So you have to go out. Now, if someone's calling in there saying to me, but I can't do that, whatever, I say, well, then you go and sit with the Eucharist. Find a Eucharist room and sit with it. Okay. That you know, that if you really want to go boom, you do that. And there's piles in all the little villages. It doesn't matter what religion you are. You walk into the Eucharist room and you sit still and you ask that energy to penetrate this you know, this block or pain, you know, or whatever. But everybody, we really need to understand this. Everybody is here through the energy of suffering. That's how it is. That's a physical manifestation of the lower self. As you enlighten yourself, raise your consciousness, then you can understand it better and you're more aware of it, which helps you cope. That's, you know, that's it. But don't be thinking it's because you're bad or good, or you done this, or you done this, or this happened, or, you know, you betrayed somebody. It's not.
It's part of the journey. It's part of life, isn't it? It is part of the journey.
The tree growing.
It's like a learning, and you say nothing in life is ever wasted. That's what
never wasted. Never wasted at all.
There's someone else that right.
Karen's story of generations of no father figure. Oh, sorry, that's went out. Let's see, Karen. Maybe Karen will still be on. Karen's story of 5 generations of no father figure is amazing. Will she be able to break this trend for her sons when they become parents? Oh, definitely. You know, when you do the constellation work and bring all the members of the family, you know, related to the colours of the bottles, and you can bring the children in and whatever, you know, you really do open the pathway. You know, you do open the pathway.
That's what she talked about, isn't it? You know, we don't know what we're meant to carry forward and what we need to leave behind. So
exactly, that's right, Lynda.
There's someone just coming in now.
Some people, you know,
have they not got the new time?
Sometimes, you know, we get out, but I think she was in, and sometimes you're throughout. You know, the energy, you know, it just throws you out for a minute.
Bad behaviour or something.
Bad behaviour. You see, so if we get away from the good and bad, there really is no good and bad. It's our reactions and what we perceive as good and bad through our feeling body. You know, if you didn't feel, I tell you, there would be no reaction. Yeah. Because you wouldn't be reacting, you'd just be watching. It's the feeling that makes us react. And why do we react to a certain thing in a certain way? There's a root issue that's making us trigger us all the time. You know, what we came in to learn, you know. So, you know, it's
like an itch or something, isn't it? You have to keep going back to it.
You have to keep going back. You know, people say to me, "Oh my God, how many times?" But then that means they're looking for a destination. You know, I may have to go back and visit, you know, my childhood for the rest of my life. I don't see that as a big problem. That's me going back to get more gold. That's it.
It's painful for some people, though, isn't it, to go back? You know.
Yeah, it is painful, but it's painful because we're still identifying with the pain. I'm not so much connected to the pain on that level. I'm identifying with where I was and what had to happen and how has it transformed me and what am I meant to deliver, you know, with it. Instead of, you know, we have to get out of this victim, like poor me syndrome, you know, it's a growing up And humanity has matured with the Corona. Like, the best thing that's happened, we have matured.
Yeah.
We have woke up. We have grew up. No matter if you grew up and you're pissed off, we have grew up.
Yeah.
And the drama so much is going out of, and people have took their own authority back. You know, you're becoming more the leader of yourself in everything, in your belief systems, in your government. People are starting to see, this is all a joke. You know, what am I doing? Yeah, what are you doing? Live your own life. Stop worrying about what happened to your mummy, your daddy, your brother, sister not talking to you. You say, I need to just find me and find my connection.
I think, you know, the past year, and, you know, a lot of people I've spoken to have said this as well, the last year with the coronavirus and everything, because we've kind of been forced to stay in and to find our enjoyment in other things, like, you know, who would have thought that you would want to actually go out for a long walk on a, you know, dull day or whatever. You know, we've discovered the outdoors. We've discovered going to parks, going to, you know, meeting one other person for, instead of having a coffee, maybe having a takeaway coffee and a walk. Yeah. You know, all of these things that we've kind of rediscovered in the outside. So it's more about, it's kind of focused us, I think, on more living for now and looking at what we have around us. And I mean, let's face it, few people are going on holiday this year, aren't they?
And they're saying they want to see the beauty of their own home.
And we have it here.
Yeah, and this is, you know, talking about that, it's just showing me that, you know, I had was booking to create, you know, the Medjugorje Retreat.
Yes.
And I'm going to bring it now coming from Ireland. You know, and from Knock, I'm going to do in September, on the 23rd of September, a 4-day retreat in that. And, you know, Spirit said it's about, you know, you have to love where you are now. And see the jewels of where you are. Yeah. And I'll stop running looking for it somewhere else. We're meant to be gathering here and seeing what we have not seen. But, you know, also a lot of family dynamics have changed. On one level, children have really benefited from us being at home and from the Corona. Do you know what I mean? Then other ones, maybe in a violent childhood, it has got worse. And then maybe a lot of families have split up. You know, so there's a lot of rerouting, rechanging, you know, and happening. But it is all to find more truth. You know, remember the two things that are happening, Spirit said, the heart is being changed and the mind is being changed. And these are the two things physically, the tissues, the cells, all we have to be aware are dynamically changing. And the young people really need to be assisted in some way for yet, you know, faith or whatever. Like when I'm in the house, I'd be playing different things, you know, spiritual things that are going on. Sometimes I'll put a mass on and I just leave it. And it's just so that it's around the house. Or if Holly walks down and she hears it or whatever, it's not me telling her to do anything. It's to let her being involved in what I'm doing and it's coming through the vibration. You can do that without forcing it in someone, just allowing your children to know who you are through what your beliefs is. And that can be lovely too. I think that we have a question there maybe. I'm not sure.
I think it's a nice message there from someone.
Oh, Reto. Hi, Reto. That's lovely. Just a big thank you. The second time to be able to join live. Roisin and Lynda, you made this format even better. You're thriving. Thank you so much for this free event.
From Russia with love.
From Russia with love. He's in Russia. I have to go there as a karmic lifetime lesson. I have to go there, Reto. So it's lovely to connect again, Lynda, with everybody. And
we'll take those messages with us then. We need to look after our nutrition, eat right for our
blood type.
Look after, what was the other thing you said to look after our physical.
Yes, the physical body. In some way we have to, you know, we have to shine the light in the corners that we're not, you know, if you're being too spiritual. Putting too much focus on one area. Why you're not putting focus on the other area? You either couldn't be bothered, you're either lazy, you're either hurting. Do you understand? Or you're denying that. And we want to turn the light onto those parts now that we really don't, you know, put the spade into the ground and just dig it and say, okay, come on, let's look at this part, you know, in that level. So we won't be back to the chat show until August, Lynda, because we're having the month of July off, and also on August the 21st I'll be holding an event also with the energies of Switzerland as well, with Karin.
Okay,
and
good.
that'll be a 3-hour event, and I'll be transmitting that from Knock. It's going to be an event of the divine energies of Our Lady opening for the retreat in September. So it's all of the divine feminine entering here.
Lovely.
So
Okay.
we've it's been lovely, Lynda.
Yeah, it's
isn't
been
it?
great to hook up again. And
Lovely, everybody.
to connect with all of you today. I don't know how many we had today, but it seemed like a lot of people in there.
Yeah.
But it's been lovely to connect with all of you, and I hope you all go out to enjoy that beautiful weather
Yes.
this afternoon.
The lovely
So,
weather, and have a nice time where you are, and don't think that
Yeah.
because you're not getting away or whatever, just realize that where you are is where you're meant to be. Sorry,
Yeah.
there's just someone's asking.
That was from Elaine, just saying thank you very much.
All right,
Roisin,
okay.
Lynda and Karen. A wonderful morning. Well, it
Oh,
was
lovely.
having you with us, Elaine,
Really
and
lovely.
everybody. So
Okay.
thank you. And there's Bernadette as well saying thank you,
there's
ladies.
Bernadette. Okay, nice
All
to
the
see you're
ladies
on,
today.
Bernadette. Everybody's on today. But that's really good. So, as they used to say, in that show, the old show, Hill Street Blues, he used to
Oh,
say,
yeah. We're going back a bit there.
yeah, may your God go with you. That's what he used to say.
That was a Dave Allen, wasn't it?
Dave
Dave Allen
Allen,
used to say
Allen, he
that,
was
yeah.
so good, wasn't he?
May your God go with you.
Yes, and be careful. So, Lynda, thanks again, and have a lovely, wonderful July in this cancering energies. Happy birthday to all those lovely Cancer energies. And remember, it's the nurturing of this physical body, the ment, and this heart. It's the sensitivity of the moon and the mothering that's coming in. This is why, but I don't see it in a negative. I see more these divine mothering energies. This is why Spirit said, put Our Lady to the left and the divine feminine to the right, to show that we hold the two aspects of the female within us, So, have a lovely Sunday. Thank you, Lynda.
Thank you,
Thank
Roisin,
you,
and
everybody.
thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
Karen.
Bye,
Okay,
Marcella,
everybody.
Rosemary.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.